Welcome to Doctor Story, everyone. Blood cancer. Blood cancer accounts for 8% of all new cases of cancer diagnosed in India. Studies suggest that India ranks third highest in reported cases of blood cancer after the US and China, and affects more than 70,000 men and women in the country. Today, we have invited Dr. Sachin Jadhav, an experienced hematologist, bone marrow transplant physician with over 17 years of rich experience in treating blood diseases and stem cell transplants. What more? Recently, Dr. Sachin Jadhav and his team have succeeded in the first bone marrow transplant in Tanzania, East Africa. We truly appreciate and congratulate you and your team for miraculously treating such an ailment, Doctor. It's certainly a privilege to be in conversation with you today.
The pleasure is mine, Anchal.
Doctor, before we dig deep into the cure for blood cancer, if you could brief our audience about different types of blood cancer and how do they react differently with different age groups?
So, that's a good question to start off with. The three main types of blood cancers are LLM.
Okay.
So leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, these differ in ages. So myeloma is exclusively found in older adults, typically 40 years and above. Lymphoma can be both adults and children. And some leukemias like ALL are found most commonly in younger children.
So is that on the basis of age group that we have divided the cancer, or there are more to it?
No, these are three different blood cancers. So leukemia, lymphoma, and myeloma are three different blood cancers. Leukemia by itself has many types, lymphoma has many types, and so does myeloma. There are close to 100 different types of blood cancers.
Okay.
Under these three categories, leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma.
Now coming back to the treatment, that was the basic of this gist of the video today. In the simplest manner, how is blood cancer treated? As you said, there are three types and then we have 100 subtypes. Now, if we have to get an overview of the elaboration, how is it treated?
Leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, all three are treated on similar concepts.
Okay.
So every blood cancer, the treatment starts with chemotherapy. And majority of the blood cancers can be cured by chemo itself. So that's the first phase of treatment, right?
Right.
The second phase is what is called as a stem cell transplant or a bone marrow transplant. So some patients of this LLM, leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, may not get cured with just chemo. And these are the patients who then may need a stem cell transplant.
All right. So stem cell transplant or the bone marrow transplant can be the last, the treatment of it, or if not treated by that also, do we have the third stage of treatment also there?
As of now, that's the final. Of course, there are newer immunotherapies like CAR T cells, which are coming up. And CAR T cells are the next viable option after stem cell transplant, if the cancer comes back.
All right.
But it's still too expensive for majority of our patients to afford it.
So if we just talk about chemotherapy, like how toxic is chemo? As you know, there are a lot of beliefs like chemotherapy may cause a serious life-threatening infection, or if you don't lose your hair during chemotherapy, it's not working. Then there is chemotherapy causes weight loss, or you won't be able to have children after chemotherapy, etc. Right? Are these all true, or these are just myths?
So there are many sub questions in what you have asked me, and let me take them one by one. So all of these are true to some extent in some patients.
Okay.
With some chemo medicines. So again, there are hundreds of chemotherapy medicines, and all of these are used for different cancers. They have different side effects. They have different benefits, right? And they have different cost.
Right.
So when we use the word chemotherapy, that means any medicine that typically can kill a cancer cell.
Mhm.
Actually, the word chemotherapy means medicine which can treat. Right? So
Right.
the broadest meaning of the word chemotherapy is any medicine which can be used to treat infection, cancer, whatever is actually chemotherapy
Mhm.
in science. But today in medicine, we use the word chemotherapy to those medicines which are used specifically for treating cancer cells.
Right.
Now, amongst the hundreds of medicines which are there are some which are exceptionally toxic
Mhm.
and they will cause hair loss. They will suppress immunity. They will cause infections in the majority of patients. But then there are others which are much, much milder, which our patients take and go back to work. You know, they don't cause hair loss, they don't cause mouth ulcers, no infection. So there's a big spectrum. What is important is in chemotherapy, in treating blood cancer, we mostly don't use a single medicine. It's a combination of 3 or 4 different chemo drugs. And it's this combination which, actually decides the side effects.
Mhm. So the combination is totally on the basis of what the person is feeling or what is the disease like for him. So it's very individualistic, if we say, not even myths or not even truth, but it's more on the person's, body or the ability to take in medicines. Is that so?
So we choose the regimen based on the type of cancer. Now, there are some cancers which need strong chemo, and there are others
Mhm.
which can be managed with milder chemo. So the disease, the type of disease, the stage of the disease, how bad is that disease, and do we really have to give maximum to a patient, or can we get away with minimum treatment? Because some patients have a good chance of cure. So we
Mhm.
reduce the number of medicines, we reduce the number of cycles, but others absolutely need every drug, every cycle to be given properly. So the type of disease, the stage, the chances of cure, the age, and the tolerability of the patient is taken into
Mhm.
account. So these are the 3, 4 factors based on which we decide. And once we choose a regimen, there's enough research now to say that, okay, look, when we use this regimen for this disease, for such and such patient, this is the risk that we can expect. There's good data today to predict that.
Mhm.
So it's not that individualized. And once we choose, generally we have statistics at our hand
Okay,
to
right.
predict. Of
Mhm.
course, what will happen to an individual patient, only time will tell.
Doctor, now coming back to the stages that we talked about, the first, as you said, is the chemotherapy for almost all the blood cancer treatment. Coming to the bone marrow transplant or the stem cell transplant, how does it help?
That's a fascinating question, and what we understand today is there are 2 types of bone marrow transplant. There's an autologous, where we use the patient's own stem cells. And then there is an allogenic stem cell transplant, where we have a donor who donates stem cells.
Okay.
Autologous bone marrow transplant works in a different manner, and allogenic works in a different manner. What we do in allogenic is we take a donor who is HLA matched and infuse his or her stem cells into the recipient, who is the patient who has blood cancer.
Mm.
Now, these new stem cells go in, they make a new bone marrow, and the new bone marrow then makes new immunity, new white blood cells. This new immunity is like new police. And this new immunity, this new police, then prevents the cancer from coming back.
Wow.
That's how an allogenic stem cell transplant works.
Mhm.
For an autologous stem cell transplant, what we do is suppose a patient with blood cancer at diagnosis has so many cancer cells. And then you give the first cycle of chemo, second cycle, third cycle, fourth cycle, fifth cycle, sixth cycle. And then you stop chemo. And if you stop chemo at this point, in some cancers, they can again grow back. So at this point, we give very high dose chemotherapy to kill off the remaining cancer cells in a lymphoma or a myeloma patient.
Mhm.
Now, when you give very high dose chemo to kill the cancer cells, the bad cells, even the good cells, the good marrow in the body is going to get destroyed.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that will be life-threatening for the patient.
Hmm.
So what we do is we give 4, 5, 6 cycles of chemo. We harvest, collect, and store the patient's own stem cells. Then we give very high dose chemo. And then to help the patient recover from this very high dose, we give back their own stem cells, which helps their marrow recover.
It,
So you see an autologous, sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Yes.
So an autologous transplant is done to help a patient recover from very high dose chemo, whereas an allogenic transplant is done to change the immunity, to prevent the cancer from relapsing.
Wow. Actually, it sounds very easy as you explain that you do this and we do that, but I'm sure there would be many challenges to it. Could you elaborate? How does it actually look like? What are the major challenges that you have to go through doing all such transplants?
Yeah. So there are several challenges, especially in developing countries like ours, countries in the Southeast Asia region, in Africa, etc. And the main challenge is clinical talent. The main challenge is having doctors and nurses who are well trained, who are well versed with the complications, and who can work together as a team. So the first challenge that we often realize is building a team, right? Which works very harmoniously. Second, we have to create protocols and policies so that the team knows exactly what to do to which patient when, and all of them give exactly the same treatment to every patient with every problem. So that's like the rule book. So we have to create policies, protocols, give training, and ensure that the team works like a well-oiled machine. That's the first. Second, in our countries, in developing countries, since this is a new specialty, quite often hospitals may not know how to build the department, how to build the infrastructure, recruit the team, train them. So it's the lack of experience in the entire healthcare industry for this specialty, which is the second challenge. Yeah. Third challenge is actually money. Now, unfortunately, in low and middle income countries, developing countries, the government cannot afford to support every patient for all the treatment the way it happens in, say, UK or Canada.
Absolutely.
So we have to raise money for treatment. So that was the third challenge. And we all have to, every doctor has to figure out how are they going to raise money for their patients, right? To ensure that there are enough funds to go through proper treatment. Right? And finally, most importantly, is follow-up. So when patients they have to travel to larger cities, bigger hospitals, get the treatment, and then they go back. And when they go back, who's going to see them? Who's going to look at the complications? Who's going to follow them? So for that, what our team does is we travel a lot. We ensure that we are able to provide care at the grassroots level for initial diagnosis, for follow-up. Now, one may think, okay, fine, I have these 4 challenges, so the team, protocol, infrastructure, and money. But what about early diagnosis? Is early diagnosis a problem, right? And that's the common question.
Right.
Interestingly, it is not in blood cancer. Right? It's not because most of the blood cancers, they progress very rapidly. And the patient will feel weak, will have fever, bad infections, maybe some bleeding, and they end up going to a local doctor. Unlike, say, a breast cancer lump, which will grow slowly over many years, blood cancer patients will become symptomatic, will become sick very quickly. And that is why these cancers are diagnosed very early, usually. The second thing is, today, doctors are very aware. Most of the labs are pretty standardized. So pickup happens very fast. Referral to the tertiary care center happens very fast. So interestingly, that is not a major challenge anymore, as much as it was, say, even 10 years ago.
That's it's a two side of the coin again. If we talk about challenges, but we also have the advancement and the, as you said, the quick pickup. That's amazing. Okay, doctor, how would it be if you take us through your whole experience of the first bone marrow transplant that you have succeeded in Tanzania?
Yeah, Anchal, so see, my own passion in life has been building bone marrow transplant centers. I truly believe that, with major population of the world staying in Southeast Asia and Africa, our patients should not feel that, if I had money, I could have gone to the US and saved my father or my sister, right?
Yeah.
So we have to create good transplant centers, treatment centers, which manage blood cancers, which perform bone marrow transplant in multiple places. And we have to create these centers in such a manner that our chance of success is the same as the chance of success in hospitals in the US. That's the challenge, right? Anybody can say, I do this and I do that, but are you as good as, say, US, UK, or Canada? And if you are not good, that's not acceptable. Yeah. So with these two things in mind, having multiple centers and giving good outcomes, good success rates. In my career, I've built 10 transplant centers till now.
Wow. How amazing is that? Yes.
Right. 9 in India, one in Africa. And we now have queries from 2 more cities in India, from Bangladesh and Maldives, to help them start bone marrow transplant programs. And it is so nice to see that if we can create and bring treatment to the masses, then that's probably something worth doing.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, much obliged here to be with you in conversation. So, Doctor, the parent company of Dr. Story is Doctune Healthcare, where we simplify healthcare accessibility, as we mutually are into the same, the purpose we have. So we offer end-to-end solution of right healthcare information with transparent care. As you have been, traveling to different countries for the sake of healthcare again, what is your advice for our international audience to maximize the chance of good treatment, right? Furthermore, having a total access to it.
So my advice is, don't be disheartened. Majority of the blood cancers can be cured today. Don't be disheartened. Reach out for help early, right? Reach out to multiple places. Use platform like yours to reach out to multiple hospitals, multiple doctors. Take your time to analyze the doctors, hospitals, the background, the success rate, but don't waste too much time deciding. Yeah, don't delay treatments. Remember, diagnosis is not getting delayed, but treatment is getting delayed.
Absolutely.
Do not delay asking for help for raising funds. Yeah, we all need funds, and good funds are required to give good outcome. Many people are hesitant. They say, I don't know, how can I ask someone? And that's a valid question. But today we have crowdfunding, we have several government schemes, right? In India, we have Chief Minister's Fund, Prime Minister Fund. We have many state-sponsored schemes like ESI, CGHS. So reach out. When you're going through treatment, you're going to need those funds for complications. So don't wait for that till the end. Yeah, go through the proper treatment. Don't worry about side effects. Majority of the side effects, what you asked me in the beginning, whether it's hair loss or infections or weight loss or mouth
Hmm.
ulcers, are temporary. In 6 months, majority of the patients are going to get fine. They're going to go to their school, college, job, home.
Mhm.
In fact, I have one patient who had a bone marrow failure syndrome called aplastic anemia.
Okay.
And we did a bone marrow transplant for him about 8-10 years ago. Now, incidentally, this patient was working for border security force, that
Mhm.
segment of Indian Army which works at the border.
Mhm.
And he came to me one day saying, "Doctor, can you make me unfit as a soldier to work at the border?"
Okay.
Right? So I told him, "Look, we've treated you, transplanted you, so that you can go back to your normal life. Unfortunately, your normal life is that of a soldier, but you're healthy. After bone marrow transplant, you can continue to work as a soldier."
Right.
So
Wow.
don't be scared of these side effects, these problems. They are transient, temporary. They're all going to go away. You're going to
Mhm.
get beautiful long hair. You know, you're going to get back your energy. You can go ahead and do what you want with your life. These
Well,
are my few.
fantastic piece of advice. Absolutely. Such an insightful discussion. I'm sure it would some way or other, help clear out the blurry vision that we all have towards blood cancer. Well, words aren't enough to express my gratitude towards you. Thank you so much for taking out time and being here with us, discussing about such an important issue, important aspect of blood cancer that we all were unaware of. It's an absolute honor to have such a discussion with you today. Absolutely. Thank you so much.